Thank you, Zoe. Beautiful day today, Mitch. We're here, DreamHack Winter. I'm excited. First DreamHack. Excited to see NIP go up against Unwanted. I don't know what to expect from Unwanted. Obviously, they come through the BYOC. It's a great experience for them, right? I mean, how many times in Overwatch thus far in a LAN have you had like an open bracket kind of system, like in person?
No, for a reason, I guess, in some cases, I'll be honest with you. I mean, it's kind of cool. It's kind of unique, right, that we actually do get to see teams come up from the BYOC. But I expect a very frosty reception given by NIP, as I'm receiving right now, by the way. It is damn cold. My extremities are cold, even in here. I want one of those heat packs, but straight into Eichenwald, actually, to start things off here, interestingly enough. Note that NIP banned out both Napoleon and Ilios straight away.
Yes.
So they're still going to have to play a King of the Hill, but they don't like it. I definitely think this is going to be a bit of a stop map for them here as well. Let's be honest, Matt, Unwanted probably won't take a map.
No, I don't think so. I think that would be the safe bet that Unwanted doesn't win a map here, but you don't know. They could definitely come out and surprise NIP with some interesting strategies. I think the biggest thing that Unwanted probably has going in their favor is like a little bit of a meta switch, right? That the meta is so different. And it looks like they're going to go with a little bit of a different defensive setup here. Mitch, you're just throwing your hands up. You're like, oh, what the hell is this? Well, it's actually funny. Didn't we talk about this at breakfast today? I was like...
We talked about the Torbjorn Symmetra plays, right?
Yeah.
The last time we saw this was actually towards the World Cup. First, like South Korea did it to Australia. That was BM. We also saw the Thai team play it. Now, Slasher will tell me, and will tell everyone else till he's blue in the face, that Torbjorn is excellent right now at a certain comp level. But
I kind of agree a little bit.
This is a hyper-defensive comp. Once NIP sniff it out, it shouldn't be much of an issue dealing with these turrets and the like here. Zappas can circumvent those as well with the translocator. If he does play at Sombra, then why not here? NIP can mix it up. What a great way to start.
I would love to see them, while they're not going to run the Sombra, it's actually going to be Hanzo coming out from Zappas here at the beginning. But I think Hanzo's another great pick. I mean, you can work down this Reinhardt shield, and then as soon as he realizes that there's going to be a Torbjorn, they're going to be able to just locate that turret and get rid of it fast. But you see the Maywall come in there from the side of Unwanted, and all those Symmetra turrets on the opposite side, they're able to just get down Roadhog, and it's going to be Zappa's going to get hooked by Emil. So it's a good first hold here from Unwanted.
That's pretty nice, actually. The tanks being sort of taken out the picture earlier, or at least we saw Fraggy sort of picked up. Zappas tried to head up towards the high ground here, so now Nip know what Unwanted are playing. So this is the grace period, in my opinion, that's kind of expired. Those Symmetra turrets are still in play, and Zekor is heading towards a teleporter, potentially. Look at the damage he gets from that one as well. Fraggy walks into that one, and NIP still need to respect this May wall.
Yeah, I think NIP may need to change things up a little bit. I mean, if you'd had a Winston just jump up on the bridge and just like hit mouse one once, he's going to get rid of all those Symmetra turrets. But you see Mafu, who's pretty charged up on the Zarya. They're just trying to get a hook here, trying to get a pick. They have to be cautious, though. That Maywall has been so effective from the side of Unwanted.
Yeah, those turrets are free charge, by the way. You can see that Mafu is going to have no issues getting fully charged up on the particle cannon from those. And now we're going to see them pushed in. First pick, that's Latex falling down. Zappas will follow up here. And we can see Smarky's forced in towards Ice Block. Nicola, though, his turret is doing a bit of work. It's kind of a little bit low on the priority chain right now, but Fraggy has to keep his shield up while his team gets rid of it. But now we will see NIP build ahead of steam.
Yeah, now NIP is going to get closer towards the point. They do have the man advantage here, but it looks like they're going to have to back down a little bit, going to have to regroup and then start pushing through. And it's interesting that you're going to see Unwanted still stick with this Symmetra. It's going to be a nano-boosted Fraggy going in. He's just going to get mowed down quick, though. He's getting pushed back by the whole hog. It's a very good defensive setup from Unwanted. They push that nano-boosted Reinhardt back, but here's going to come an Earth Shatter, and now it's going to be a Graviton Surge as well. NIP going on offense, and there you see it's a Hanzo plus the Graviton Surge there gets the job done.
That Dragon Strike probably shouldn't have got as many kills as it did, if I'm honest, but Unwanted will force back in towards the Yanked house, I guess, or the Hunter's lodge, as it were. Latex, they're going to catch Connor with a Fire Striker. This is a very disjointed push coming in from NIP. Hook not going to connect there from Emil as he does drop down, and Zappa is going to keep his team nice and healed up. Now, I've got to bring this up as well. If you're playing Ana on a team full of tanks, quite often, like NIP, you have a big job on your hands. You need to dish a lot of healing out. I think Zappa does an excellent job of that one, but eventually, Matt, NIP are going to roll straight on through here and make some progress.
It was an interesting setup from Unwanted there on the first point. They hold for a little bit. The teleporter comes in. They start staggering down towards the point, but they're not able to get it back. Now, you will see NIP has a ton of time here to work with, and Unwanted, they're going to switch over. They're actually going to run a 76 now. So Soldier and Diva, two heroes in the new meta that have gotten a lot of play. We'll see if Unwanted can put them to good use. But you see, they're going to go on the offense again with another great Maywall trying to block off NIP. But now you see all the kills coming in NIP's favor. Things are not looking good for Unwanted.
So, funny story, I actually don't know if this game is actually set to comp mode right
No,
now.
it's not.
Because it would normally show the times up the top, but we'll carry on as if it were. I don't think a restart's really required in that case, but we'll see what the admins decide to do. We'll play on anyway. Zappe does have himself a nano boost here to working towards the next fight, and Zappas, it'll just be a Sonic Arrow just to see where Unwanted are coming from. He knows he's being threatened right now, so we can back away.
Yeah, he's going to back down. That's a smart play. You see the May Blizzard going to come in as well, and the NIP uses the nano boost there, probably the absolute worst time, so they use a nano, and they actually use a sound barrier as well. They're able to just survive through the fight. You see it's just going to be Smarky trying to stay alive here, but his teammates are all falling. He's just trying to stay up, put the Maywall, blocking himself off from any damage, but quickly dealt with by Zappas, and Zappas still staying on that Hanzo, being extremely effective.
So in this day and age where nano boost doesn't give you a speed boost, using it on Reinhardt makes you very susceptible to a Blizzard like that. So I like the response from Unwanted. I like Smarky going for the Blizzard, but the problem is, right, if your fundamentals aren't on the same level as your opponent, the finer points of strategy doesn't really matter so much, man. It's not a huge difference, but now Unwanted will challenge this here.
Yeah, and they have no ultimates to kind of take this back, and you see NIP, I mean, they have everything. They have the Graviton Surge, the Dragon Strike, a whole hog, and an Earth Shatter. So they have a lot of utility here to secure this payload. And you see that Graviton Surge coming in there towards the end. Fraggy is actually going to land the Earth Shatter here, and you see everybody just going to fall off quickly for Unwanted. So things kind of going as expected in NIP's favor. It's what Jason and ZP, and so we thought on it ask. It's what we thought before the game started. But this is where NIP could fall into some trouble, right? Like, this is the hardest point to get on Iconball.
Yeah, technically. Notice they're not pushing ahead of this payload sometimes. You see how it takes a while for that payload to get moving? Sometimes teams push right into the throne room and actually make sure that they can allow the payload to get through the door and have a good presence before that second door comes down and makes it hard to filter in. But this time, not an issue for them here. They've got 6 players ready to fight on the payload. This should be a comfortable move through, especially with the Dragon Strike and Whole Hog available.
So we'll see. Will be the Diva Bomb coming in from Unwanted. One does not do
Fraggy's just standing there.
Fraggy's just standing there. He's kind of trapped beyond that Maywall. I think both teams are just kind of standing here at this point. Okay, well.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, as we thought, it's in the wrong mode. Obviously, it's not comp
The players, did the players just realize that, though?
No, well, maybe, yeah. The thing is, right, because it tells you, because you get a counter for every checkpoint that you sort of get here as well. So we can consider that a dry run to start things off here. Everyone's sort of getting into it. I would expect, I guess, a replay of this to look very similarly. But instead of playing on, they're going to go back and start it again. That's fine. But, Matt, we can talk a little bit more about, I guess, what we've seen so far. The Torbjorn Symmetra to start things off, definitely interesting choice, but it worked for a while.
Do they go with it again? Like, now it's really predictable, right? I mean, that was like kind of, if you're Unwanted, that was like your trump card, right? Like, maybe we can throw them off, like do something unorthodox. It's like, well, now you kind of know what's happening.
If you ask me, right, if you're going to play Torbjorn and Symmetra, 2 heroes whose most part of their value actually comes from having their ultimates online, if you don't hold the first point and you don't have a chance to get ultimates on both those heroes, it's not worth it at all, right? Then you could have you might as well just chuck it in the bin and go for something a little bit different.
Yeah, because then you're switching off of those heroes going into point 2.
Right, so you're not going to hold an ult for that. Like, it's just no point.
Right, that's actually really poor if Unwanted were to lose that pretty quick. They actually got, I don't want to say lucky, I mean, they were playing very well. You know, the Maywall's just separating NIP, holding that at the beginning, but like, to your point, if it didn't go that way, and let's say, NIP just runs in and breaks it, then you're switching off the Torb, you're switching off Symmetra, maybe you're even switching off May at that point.
Yep.
And then you're really far behind in the ultimate economy. So maybe, Unwanted changes things up, runs a 76 at the beginning, maybe
like,
Roadhog.
No messing, right? Especially now in a meta where ultimates take longer to charge. Like, you lose a lot more value now if you don't get your ultimates down on that first point out of Torb and Symmetra.
And what's your feelings on all the new changes?
Well, I mean, in terms of how the ultimates take longer to charge up, I don't mind it at all. It means that teams now can't wait for those prescribed waypoints or those those time-stamped points in the game where you're just going to let all your ultimates go. So it forces you to push in without the use of those ultimates. Unfortunately, in my opinion, it also benefits teams that stack a lot of tanks, right? Because it's hard to get front-loaded burst down without big ultimates, especially big DPS ults, like, I don't know, your Deadeyes or your Dragon Blades or anything like that. So I think it's a little bit more of a slow roll, but it also forces teams to rely on positioning and just mechanics over the shock and awe factor of having those ults up all the time.
Yeah, and I like it just from playing it. It just feels a little bit better to me.
Yep.
I think just not having so many ultimates and being so ultimate dependent. And I think especially with loaded up on tanks, this helps NIP more than anybody, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mentioned, I think it also benefits you, or at least it rewards you more for playing better and doing more damage, right? Because if your ultimates take longer to charge up, it's clear to see who's doing more. Like, who's the better Ana, for example, who's doing more healing, because obviously if you have an Ana boost and they're only 46% of the way through, you can see that you've done a better job. And now we've actually got moments in the game where one team has a nano and the other doesn't, which is better than what we used to see, where we
everybody's nano.
Electric Cowboys or Electric Crusaders just running at each other full speed and trying to make things happen. But we're back on Eichenwald, and we are in the correct mode here. So Unwanted have had a bit of taste of what's to come from NIP, but Matt, doesn't seem they want to change their defensive team too much.
Yeah, they're gonna stick with it, which may actually catch NIP off guard. We'll see if NIP changes things up at the beginning. I thought Zappis was really effective on that Hanzo. Probably like to see him stick on the Hanzo going in to this, I guess it was not really a redo. Well, it is a redo of Eichenwald. We didn't get through the entire first map, but we will see Unwanted on defense. They'll be going with Symmetra and Torbjorn again. They'll be running the Mei.
Right.
Obviously going to try and just wall off the opponents at that first gate. Now, NIP have some time here to just build up their comm. You want to see them run the Hanzo again?
This is fine. It's fine, right? Because you can get if you get a good pick on a Torbjorn, the fact is, if you have Torbjorn Symmetra, right, and only 2 tanks, you have far more of those heroes with health pools that can get one-shot by Hanzo, right? So it makes your picks easier to get. So yeah, take Hanzo here. If you pick a Mei off, which is a bit harder with extra bit of health, but Torbjorn, Symmetra, catch one of those. I mean, it's on for young and old after that point.
Yep, it'll be NIP on offense. It'll be Himsy running Roadhog. Look for him to try and get some picks with a hook. He's very effective on Roadhog, one of the best Roadhogs in the world. And you see Mafu just earning that free charge at the beginning. Now Zappis on Hanzo. He'll be the one responsible in getting a pick early. And you see the Maywall coming in a little bit late there from Unwanted, and they actually knock down the Reinhardt. This is not good for Unwanted.
Yeah, you allow the tank line of NIP to get through, and that's your problem, I guess. Clown does go down earlier on, but it's a pretty low priority pick-off now, especially when Zappis finds pick-off. Nicholas turrets down, the hook comes in from Himsy. Again, keep an eye on this guy. If you're not familiar with Himsy, he will rock you with his hooks. Always good to watch, and despite Emo getting 2 kills, that may well not be enough to stop things here. Look at Zappis. Confidence embodied, coming forward, 2 quick kills, and now it's going to be an easy cleanup here onto poor Latex, who's going to be caught in the mix.
He's just spinning around with his shield.
He wants fire sensitivity like the Chinese players. They do it really far.
He had no chance of survival there. It's going to be NIP taking the first point. And this is exactly what we talked about. Now they're going to be behind in the ultimate game because they're going to have to switch off of that Torbjorn in Symmetra. Yeah. So now your 76 going to be starting to build his ult from the beginning. Same with D.Va. So going in this next fight, NIP has another big advantage.
I like D.Va as a response to Hanzo here. D.Va's very good at closing the gap to a Hanzo, shutting him down quickly, and also preventing him from getting good damage across with a defense matrix. The thing is, it's a 2-2-2 comp here, so they don't have a Roadhog for picks or sort of extra front-loaded damage and durability. So I don't love it. Anyway, the engagement comes in, wall comes up, and Himsy needs to get into the fight. Here's the Dragon Strike.
Yep, it's going to be Zappis. Going to be able to get one with some help of Himsy. Puts down a nice shot there. Mei is going to go into that ice block, just trying to stay alive for a little bit longer, but they're going to be able to handle D.Va as well. Nicola up top as Soldier 76, just trying to lay down damage, but we have nobody at the actual front lines, just putting down the pressure. Everybody else drops. It's really going to be nothing. Soldier's going to have to back up with Ana. And now you see NIP consistently moving the payload. What can Unwanted do to stop this?
They've got a nano boost, Matt. That's about it, really. Maybe nano boost Reinhardt, drop him down off the bridge into the midst of them and hope you have good follow-up, but that's going to be about it. You can see them now just posturing and looking for a decent engage, and an early wall comes up there. I'm not sure why, but here's the fight. Body grenade comes in.
And by the time they actually get a chance to maybe use the nano boost and drop down, the Graviton Surge already is in. You see D.Va, she's going to go for a ride, just flying off the side of the map. It's going to be limit still with that nano boost coming in here for Unwanted if they decide to challenge us. I almost feel like they have to. It's so much time on the clock for NIP.
They're so split, though. I mean, they're going to come out like, yeah, this is bad.
Yeah,
this is not good. Latex going to charge onto the payload. Nicola already falling down. You're going one at a time against NIP. It's just not going to work out at all. I understand it. The problem now is that with Unwanted dying so close to the payload getting across the line, they can't come all the way forward from spawn and defend in front of this door, and they can't use this choke point aspect now once the second door comes down. So they're going to have to set up, and look, NIP are going to push them back.
Yeah, and this is a very smart play by NIP. You can see why they're one of the best teams in the world, just really taking advantage of Unwanted right now. And they will have a Dragon Strike, a Nano Boost, so they don't have a Graviton to go work with it, NIP, but they do have that Earth Shatter, and you see it's going to be Fraggy getting Nano Boosted, and he's going to fly in, and you are saying, oh my, with your hand on your head. What are you seeing right now?
Dragon Strike came in just as Unwanted went to engage. That is never going to work. They walked into the Dragon. They fed him there. And I don't think Zappis needs any more fodder, but look at them all on fire, and it's easy enough to see that NIP are pushing very comfortably now. There's an Earth Shatter and a Recon Visor here available.
Yeah, so they will have the Soldier ultimate. That is extremely effective now. And NIP not running a D.Va, so not going to be able to eat that up with a defense matrix. We'll see how NIP attacks this, if they're going to make it around the corner. Oh, and they actually hook the Soldier. So if things couldn't get worse for Unwanted, they definitely do there. And you see the sound barrier coming in from NIP. They're going for the kill here. They're trying to put the game away.
Oh, Nicola had a tactical visor there as well. A little bit of extra damage would have been pretty good for Unwanted right now, but still, it's back and forth. Another hook there connecting. Mafu are going to go down to Nicola now as he does finally get that tac visor going, but still should be shut down now eventually as Himsy finds him. Hook goes on towards the newly suited up D.Va, and Emil gets chunked down as soon as he gets back in his mech.
Well, Unwanted is doing a decent job of just stalling this out and holding on. They're it's going to be Himsy sending the opposing Reinhardt Latex for a ride there. He's actually going to connect with a hook. And now you see a nano boost and a sound barrier coming in from Unwanted, so they're going to start to push NIP back.
Yeah, as the Latex coming forward there as well, gets himself a nano boost. Decent charge on towards Mafu, but again, he's the mayor of Hook City right now. Himsy catches him yet again. He's going to be forced back now as well. The damage coming in from the D.Va is going to hurt as Mafu gets right in underneath their skin.
And Unwanted, they're going to actually have Nicola switch over from Soldier to Reaper. So in such a close quarters, right on the payload almost towards the end. You're going to need that Reaper to really just mow down these tanks, but I don't think it's going to be enough, Mitch. I mean, you just see just the pressure that they are putting on now with the D.Va. Does not look likely for Unwanted to hold.
No, got to be tough. I mean, Zappa's now switching towards the Tracer, which I find quite curious. He's forced to back away here, so Unwanted, especially off the back of the Blizzard coming out from Smarky, have been out of hold now. And the ults are starting to fly for them here. They've got 4 ready to go.
We'll see if they can make use of that D.Va bomb. Emil has that. No, D.Va ultimate. We've seen Mickey in the Apex just getting so many kills with it. He's going to launch it into the sky, not going to get anything with it. Death Blossom comes in too, so that's going to be 2 for Nicola. You're going to see Camille pick up 1, and now you will see Unwanted get a hold here.
Not bad, actually, from Unwanted, I'll be honest. They did front load a lot of those ultimates, and now once the fight's sort of over and then NIP disengage that damage, they should be able to push up a little bit more in a moment, but they're going to wait here. And now, 2 minutes, 23 seconds. I wouldn't be upset about this if I'm Unwanted. They've managed to hold here. It's a very strong defensive position if you give the defenders any time to actually establish here. But now NIP are going to come back in. Mafu does have the self-destruct here. Unwanted are going to have to head for the heels if that comes flying down.
Yeah, it was about a little bit over 4 minutes, I believe, NIP had when they got to this checkpoint. So Unwanted's done a pretty good job holding it to this point. It's going to be Limit with a nano boost for Unwanted. We'll see if he uses that one in this next fight. You see it's going to be the D.Va bomb coming in. Nothing gets it from the side of NIP, so NIP uses the one ultimate they have. They get nothing for it. Now you're going to see the nano-boosted Reinhardt fly in. It's going to be Nicola as well, picking up 1. It's going to force NIP to disengage.
Yeah, big time there as well. I mean, self-destruct getting absolutely nothing there for Mafu. At least he kept himself alive to reshoot. But again, nano boost on towards Latex. Unwanted are doing a lot of damage here in their defensive endeavors, and it's giving them ultimates to boot. This Earth Shatter is all they're going to have to stand on for the next little bit. They're going to have a self-destruct from Emil. It's going to have to be a pretty good Earth Shatter.
And Zappis actually switches over to Soldier 76. So we saw him play Tracer for a little bit, now going with Soldier, going with the more consistent damage here. It's like try and get the, it's definitely a safer pick. I mean, Soldier is so good in the current meta. Now you see it's going to be the D.Va ultimate coming out from the side of Unwanted, and they're actually able to get 1, and they take out the opposing team Lucio, so that is a huge kill there. It's going to be Fraggy with a big Earth Shatter, but those players are protected by that Lucio sound barrier. Finally, though, pins Latex against the wall. Himsy with 1. A very nice kill there from Mafu as he comes in, saves his teammate, just pushing forward. And this looks like it may be the push that NIP wins it.
Yeah, I mean, Himsy going to miss the hook there as well as Nicola just needs to stall out on this payload now. It's going to be shunted off. Big Earth Shatter comes in, though. That's going to catch on to 3, if not 4. No, even Zappe went down. Will it be enough as Mafu he's able to get on towards Nicola now and a Blizzard to stall things out? This will slow NIP down further. There's 33 seconds left here for NIP to finish the map.
This has been such an impressive hold from Unwanted. They do have the nano boost of their own, but here we're going to see Himsy. He's going to be nano boosted for NIP. Goes whole hog. He's able to just plow through the opponents, trying to search for Nicola because they know he has that Death Blossom. Nice hook there at the end. Finish him off. It's going to be Zappis up top, putting down a ton of damage. Mafu gets 1 with the D.Va ultimate, but here comes May, just stalling things out for the side of Unwanted. If they can get Nicola back in the fight, has that Death Blossom, could potentially make something happen, but you see, he's just going to fly in, only going to get 1 for Fraggy, picks up another big Earth Shatter, knocks down Emil, but here comes a self-destruct. Not going to be able to get anything. It's going to be NIP completing the map, but with no time remaining, so a very good hold for about 4 minutes there from Unwanted.
That was great. That was a great start from Unwanted there as well. And look, I'm not trying to sell the guys short here, but there's no reason we should expect them to be a dominant force against NIP in this map. Unwanted is very, very hard to attack on that last point. The guy's like, yeah, we did it. We did it. We managed to keep them with a 0 time bank. And that's a good start. It's a good opening from Unwanted there. You can see the frustration from NIP starting to show a little bit there. Zappa's cycling through a few different picks. A lot of ultimates being used there in the last point. Pretty chaotic, of course, with the stall you can achieve with Mei and D.Va. And hey, the 2-2-2 comp wasn't really terrible here as well. You see, there's a few choice words being exchanged on the side of NIP here, as they definitely would have wanted a bit more than that.
Well, I feel like if you are Unwanted, like when you lose that first point so fast with the comp that you had and then you have to switch off of it, you almost know you're going to lose that second point equally as fast because you have no ultimates that even fight NIP back. I mean, at that point in time, I mean, you're switching off of the Torbjorn and the Symmetra over to Soldier and D.Va. You're not building any ults on them.
Gotcha.
The one time you have a chance to ult up top, you just get taken out by a Graviton Surge. And I know at 4 minutes, NIP there at the end, it's Unwanted able to hold on. You know, their NIP still completes the map, but with no time remaining. We'll see what NIP does on defense here. They'll go with Roadhog and Zappos on Mei. So they're going to try and get those hooks down, try and get the walls up, just really stall Unwanted out here at the beginning.
I mean, I believe in miracles sometimes, I really do.
Sometimes.
But the thing is here, Unwanted did a great job defending against NIP. What they now have to do is get the first point, right? It's going to have to be 1 by 1 as they attack these challenges here. And NIP are coming out with the stock standard NIP composition, right? Himsy on Roadhog, Fraggy and Mafu, so that's going to make the triple tank core up. You've got the double support as per usual, Zappa on Ana, and Zappa's on the Mei here. Fundamentally, Unwanted need to be on a similar or even better level than NIP to break this first point. There's so much to benefit defenders here.
And it's interesting, you're going to see Unwanted running triple support at the beginning here. So they'll be running Lucio, Zenyatta, and Ana with a Roadhog, and they will be running Reinhardt and Soldier 76 on Nicola, the only DPS hero. So what do you think about that? It's a little bit different.
Yeah. You could play 3-3 on this meta with 3 supports and 3 tanks, but having the DPS of Nicola in here is super interesting. Unfortunately, your team's not as durable as it could otherwise be, and you can't benefit as much from the healing for the high health targets, and Mafu can also just go get 3 kills and stop the push there. And then, excuse me, so I like the inclusion of Zenyatta to deal with the tanks. So you should always think about that going up against NIP.
Yeah.
But do you really want to bring him in as another support and sacrifice another tank or damage dealer? I'm not certain.
Well, and also, I mean, they just kind of lack mobility overall, right? I mean, you just don't have like a D.Va who can like get on the bridge and maybe just force some fire down.
Yeah,
or
high
like
ground control.
A Winston, yeah, you can't get high ground control with this setup. So I think Unwanted's going to have a lot of trouble getting through this choke point. And I do like the Zenyatta pick. You know, the Discord Orb's great to just burn down tanks, especially with Soldier 76, but still, I'm just hard-pressed to find out how they're going to get through. Well, I mean, that's one way. Zappos throws down a Mei wall, not the best placement of it. Now, you still see it's trying to get through the tanks of NIP. It is not working out, though, for Unwanted. You saw Zekor and Smarky just push right up to Roadhog, and they were not able to get anything going. Before Himsy drops, he's able to take out a few players. So it'll be Unwanted sticking with the same comp. How many more times do you think they try this before we see a switch?
Well, I don't know really what they would switch to here in this case. I'd maybe just get rid. Look, you can honestly get rid of Ana in this case, and you can play the Lucio Zenyatta. You probably still need the speed in this case if you want to have decent engagements like this. Graviton comes in though. Doesn't matter how fast you are if you're all being sucked together. And NIP, I don't even know if there have been kills for Unwanted so far. Been very comfortable and confident roll through for NIP, and they're just going to cycle and slowly trickle those ults in, Matt. They don't need to use them all at once. They've got 3, almost 4 ready to go. There's no reason that Unwanted should be able to push through that.
Well, Unwanted will have some ultimates coming into this next fight. They'll have the Transcendence, they'll have a Nano Boost, an Earth Shatter, and they'll have that Hack Visor from Soldier 76. So they can get beyond this Mei wall. Potentially they could get something going, but you see it's going to be a Blizzard coming in, and that's actually pretty fortunate. Nicola was going to use the Hack Visor there, but it actually gets broken up as that Blizzard comes down. They use the Transcendence. It's going to be Latex able to get one. Himsy with a fantastic hook, though. You see the devastating things he could do on Roadhog. It's going to be Latex on the point, trying to get a charge on Ana, but does not connect, just trying to chase her down, and he's finally able to take out Zabu. So it's a good kill there, but nothing's going to happen in favor of Unwanted. It's going to be NIP still able to hold on.
Yeah, so now we're seeing the Zenyatta actually being gotten rid of here. So to the Tracer here for Smarky, which is also okay. If you don't get hooked in against someone like Himsy, or God forbid getting right-clicked by the Roadhog scrap gun, Tracer's okay, can run circles around him and get a lot of damage, and pulse bombs will be coming, but there's no Zarya to combo that with. There's no big bang combo on the side of Unwanted here. So it's still it's just a classic old school 2-2-2, which there's a reason why we see triple tank, right? It's because you have 30% more health effectively over your whole team. And this 2-2-2 probably doesn't have the damage to really get it done here. We'll have to see, and yeah, fundamentally as well, it's going to be hard for Unwanted really to break this down.
And that was so, it was pretty bad for Unwanted there on that push because they actually use the Soldier 76 ult and he gets knocked down right away and he just gets taken out and they're not able to get anything for it. So they were probably going to try and combine the Soldier ult plus the nano boost and really just put it down a ton of damage as they push through. They're not able to get either of them connected there, and you see the May Blizzard coming out from Zappis from NIP a bit early here, but with only 20 seconds left, you get that first big pick, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, interesting enough there as well. Emma went past, he went through the Blizzard there with the boost, the rocket booster, just to, I don't know, try and isolate someone, but when you run headfirst into towards a Roadhog, that's not exactly the target you're trying to pick off there. Nicola going down to Matthew there as well means Unwanted are going to struggle. They've got 3 seconds remaining, and it does look like the plucky upstarts are going to struggle on first point here. In overtime, it'll be an attempt from Limit to get on the point, but no, Matt, not going to be enough. Even an Earth Shatter won't pave the way.
No, it'll be Unwanted losing map 1 here to NIP. So a good defensive hold from Unwanted on the last point on Eichenball, but on offense, they can't get anything going. I feel like just the composition they had at the beginning, Mitch, just was not something that was ever going to work. I feel like they stuck on it a little bit long.
Yeah, I mean, it's super weird. In that regard, I kind of hope that we get to see a little bit more of that kind of thing from Unwanted and maybe just start to piece things together because triple support is actually okay. In this meta, it's quite good. There's a lot of value placed on all of those support heroes in Zenyatta, that much more now with the prevalence of tanks and how much D.Va got buffed, etc. So you can do it. Just throwing the 1 DPS and the Soldier 76 in there just makes me feel like they just feel comfortable playing a 76 and maybe not being super academic in their approach to crafting that team comp. But, I mean, I'd like to unpack a bit more as we go.
So I like the idea of the Zenyatta like you were talking about. I think in that comp, though, you probably need to lose the Ana. I feel like you definitely need Lucio for the speed to get through the choke with the Mei wall and whatnot. I just, I feel like if you would have gotten rid of the Ana, I feel like that's a comp that could work against NIP because you really, I mean, it's all about trying to cut down those tanks, right?
Yeah, but the problem is it's also, without Ana, who honestly gives you some of the best burst healing in the game right now, you need to be able to sustain against these tanks, right? You need to be able to play a long fight. And Zenyatta, obviously, is only single target healing unless he has the Transcendence. So he doesn't exactly, he's not a robust solution when your team is taking damage on all sides and you need to not only out-heal the enemy team, but out-DPS them because they've got these tanks that can just withstand so much and are so self-sufficient.
Yeah, it's interesting. I do like Unwanted trying something different, like on the defensive end with the Torbjorn, and then on offense trying to run the Zenyatta there. It does not work out as NIP was able to take that first map in our best of 3 series. Going into our next 2 maps, I don't know which one it'll be. It'll be either Dorado or Lijiang Tower.
I thought that Eichenwald was supposed to be the decider.
Eichenwald was supposed to be the decider, but so it'll either be Dorado or Lijiang. So it'll be Lijiang Tower. How do you think this favors NIP? Do you think it favors them in a big way? Do you think this is one where Unwanted can make up some ground on an assault map?
If there's any map that we're going to see Unwanted actually get some traction, it's probably going to be here. NIP generally insta-ban all the King of the Hill maps in the pool if they can.
Right.
Their first 2 bans were Nepal and Ilios, right? So you can see that that's not really something they fancy playing, and maybe it doesn't really benefit their playstyle a lot there as well. So they like to be a little bit static, where it's sometimes can be hard to do on a map like this. So if it's going to be anywhere, it's going to be here. I think you can sneak things past the enemy team with some weird picks. We've seen teams recently, FaZe, namely, plays Sombra on this particular map as well. They did try it against NIP in the Alienware Monthly Melee recently with limited success, but it's definitely an option. NIP are probably unfazed by the patch changes. They're going to play the same comp they always have, just with a Soldier 76 for Zappers.
And it's interesting, NIP not running the D.Va. It's been a hero that we've seen a lot of teams since the new patch go towards, but it'll be map number 2 underway between NIP and Unwanted. Be on board with Zappis first, as he's going to be running 76, and it'll actually be Unwanted going straight towards the point, so we'll see how this fight turns out. And you see they're just laying down a ton of damage on that Reinhardt. He's not able to survive, but it's going to be 2 kills actually going in favor, make it 3 for Unwanted. So Unwanted able to get towards the point, and now just pushing the side of NIP back.
I like that Unwanted did this. I like that they didn't just do the gentleman's agreement, let's go towards the middle, stand deliver, because they actually don't have any hit scan on their team right now, except for Ana when she's scoped in. So you're not playing McCree, you're not playing, Widow or anything that really wants to sort of play that kind of fight, like the sort of 20-gun salute kind of thing. So I like that pushing on towards the point, then win the first fight. It's a good start.
Oh, you see Smarky going up top. He actually gets hit by Fraggy there. Fraggy's actually able to knock 2 off of the map during that. So
really nice.
It's going to be Himsy able to get 1. Smarky just trying to stay alive here. He's so low on HP. It's going to be Himsy and Mafu finishing off the rest of the players for Unwanted. So Unwanted is able to get the point originally. They hold on to it for, all about 20 seconds there. And it's going to be NIP taking it back, and now Himsy picking a big kill up there towards the end, so it's going to be Unwanted have to wait for Smarky to get back before they push again.
I find it very interesting that Unwanted want to play this Genji actually up against NIP. It's always a bit of a deterrent seeing 3 tanks to deal with. I guess you can deal with a Soldier 76, but he has a lot of burst damage with Helix Rocket that can deal with the Genji at close range if he's not reflecting. So I have to see how it works out. I'm not convinced.
Oh, and it's going to be Fraggy actually, who's hiding underneath, had an Earth Shatter there. He actually gets a nano boosted as well. It's going to be the Soldier attack visor coming in here from NIP. Zappis will just lay down a ton of damage. Nice shots there to finish off Smarky. So that ends that push from Unwanted. They don't invest much of anything at all into it. They will have this next fight. They'll have the Diva ultimate. They'll have a Graviton Surge. They'll have a Nano Boost, and they'll be close to a Dragon Blade. So a lot for Unwanted to use here in this next fight. And you saw in IP, they burned through a lot there.
And for Nicola as well, who are your targets, right? You go for Zappe and Kynal, I guess. You try and get on towards them, who have been kept very safe right now, and Zappis is always going to be in the back line. So we'll see what Animal could do with his self-destruct here. He'll probably try and work from an off angle as the rest of his team and just use him as a distraction. Here we go, he's going to go straight in though. Graviton Surge being used though, so Emel's just going to have to deal with that one. Probably wouldn't be ulting right now if I'm him, and he does go for it as he gets desuited here. But Mafu and Fraggy open up, tanks doing work. Fraggy's shield keeps his team safe from that self-destruct, and it will be NIP slow rolling through yet another fight here.
Yeah, and you see Unwanted, they use the Graviton Surge there. They get absolutely nothing out of it, just dancing around the Diva as Himsy connects with a hook. Able to take out a bill there towards the end. So NIP still holding strong as soon as they have gotten the point. It's not shown any signs of giving it up. And now coming into this next fight, they'll have the Earth Shatter and they'll have a Whole Hog. They'll have a Sound Barrier as well, so they have a lot to go through in this next fight. And you actually see Himsy connect with a hook there. Does not pull straight down. Here comes Nikolai though with the Dragon Blaze, able to get Zappis, but then quickly put to sleep, and that's gonna run out.
Yeah, that's pretty rough there. Nicola won't even be awake to see how that round ended. And honestly, one of the few targets he was ever going to kill in that round was going to be Zappis. I think he only got to use 1 Dragon Blade there as well, which is also not a great sign. And NIP are not good or not confident on King of the Hill maps, or control as we call it. But it doesn't mean that they're going to sort of lay down and cop it here from, I guess, a more of a newer upstart team here in the form of Unwanted. So.
Yeah, I feel like if you're NIP, like you're not scared of Unwanted in a King of the Hill setting. It's obviously not your preferred game type, map combinations as well. But I guess this is great practice, I guess, going forward, in the groups and through the tournament. I guess this, for NIP, it's like you kind of get a little bit more practice on a map like Lijiang Tower. You can go through and be more confident on it, and it'll be the side of Unwanted. I wonder if they'll stick with the Genji again. It looks like they will at the beginning here. We'd like to see them switch over to something else. Maybe run a Soldier, or it's actually quite funny. It's like we've seen like Reaper kind of like fall out a little bit. We have not seen Reaper at all. With especially going up against the 3 tanks, the Reaper obviously would be extremely effective.
Yeah, it's just hard to get close now with Nano Boost not giving you a speed boost. I think that's the reason why. I mean, look, Nicola playing Genji is the least of my concerns when it comes to what Unwanted are doing generally. Oh, gets launched up. That's like a ledge dash plus. Team Rocket blasting off again. That's Fraggy going to get 2 kills off at the end of that fight there. Limit's just going to drop off the edge there and respawn with the rest of his team. Gotta love the ragdoll in Overwatch sometimes, man. It is enjoyable.
It always like happens randomly where like a character just gets boosted into like oblivion, like right there. You saw Nikolai just go for.
It's like he's mid dash and then he dies. I think that's what happens. Yeah. Also, like if you put a May wall under someone, like a corpse, I think, and they also go flying up, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, he had no signs of stopping his trajectory towards the moon there, as you saw Nikolai just go flying. And here comes Unwanted charging towards the point. Because Smarky coming in, laying down some damage with Zarya, pretty charged up here at 60%. Just trying to apply some barriers to his teammates so they can sustain through this, but it's going to be Himsy picking up 2. Fraggy with another. Fraggy just chasing down the enemy Ana. It's going to be Mafu able to take him out. So Unwanted, their push ends pretty quickly, and now you see NIP building these ultimates, and it is not looking good for Unwanted going into this next one, because NIP will have that Graviton. They will have the Soldier ultimate and the Nano boost too.
The tricky part is that NIP are never going to let you work them down. They're never going to let you chunk slowly down these health points of the tanks. They're the ones that get aggressive most of the time. You'll see them set up here around the side, and eventually it'll be time to go in there as well. You can just see Mafu just hoovering straight through the front door, and a Graviton Surge being used. Most of Unwanted caught in there, and it will be NIP all over it again. 62% and counting, and Unwanted need to catch a second win, catch a break here, and flip this point back if they want to hang on.
And Unwanted there, as soon as they get sucked into the Graviton, they had used their Nano boost and their Dragon Blade. So
just
they will,
the worst possible outcome.
It cannot be any worse for Unwanted. They're actually going to switch Nicola over to the Reaper, so it's something I had mentioned. maybe get a Reaper against this heavy tank composition from NIP, maybe make that work. Here comes the D.Va ultimate from the side of Unwanted. They don't get anything with it. And during that time, it's actually very smart from NIP. They see the D.Va ultimate go in the air, and then they just push straight through over towards the bridge. And they're able to get 2 kills early. Sound barrier comes in, the Earth Shatter comes in from Unwanted, but still it doesn't matter. You're gonna have Mafu and Co just be able to fight through that ultimate ability, and it's going to be NIP taking the second point.
And you can see in some cases why teams prefer to play Xayah over D.Va. I mean, NIP, you'd think they'd be playing D.Va, they'd be the first to jump on it because they love playing tanks, but actually, they tend to think D.Va's a little bit overrated right now, and in the 1v1 context, generally, if Xayah has decent charge, she will beat D.Va. Defense Matrix does nothing to the focus beam of the particle cannon there, so you can damage D.Va and not really worry about it too much here. And you can see there, NIP are very comfortable, and Zappos says the key to playing a heavy tank composition is to be aggressive and engage. Don't let anyone get bursted down. Don't let anyone get picked out. Be the one getting the picks and be the one getting the enemy's face so they can't focus down particular targets because they're not being given the breathing room to actually select them.
Yeah, it's a really interesting way to kind of look at that. I never really thought of it that way. It'll be NIP with only 1 point to take here to win this series. It'll be Unwanted with their backs against the wall. See, it'll be Smarking out, running the Soldier 76-4 on Unwanted. Going to put down the Biotic Field, just giving himself some healing, giving his teammates some healing as well. Now we'll see, just trying to lay down some shots, trying to get somebody out of position here for NIP early, but they got to be so careful. Himsy's so aggressive with those hooks, and it's actually going to be an early pin there from Fraggies, and he's actually able to stay alive through that. Things going well for NIP.
Fraggy is a massive enabler on the side of NIP, by the way. He will charge on the drop of a hat. He is not a passive Reinhardt. He's like the opposite to Coco, all right, if you want to use Reinhardt comparisons there. And always, Mafu just gives him a shield, and then NIP, like, they engage and follow up on Fraggy. So yes, he's aggressive and it's high-risk play, but he's always got backup. Look, it's up it, making sure that Fraggy doesn't take too much damage, keeping him healed at all times. Easy stuff for NIP now. They're going to push Unwanted out the front door. Yeah,
and you just see how fast Lipa is getting towards that nano boost as well. So, by just healing all of these tanks, they're going to have that nano boost a little bit earlier. Now coming in this next fight, Fraggy does have that Earth Shatter. So if Unwanted comes through that big open door, they're just going to get mowed down. But they're actually going to try and go on top here and work their way around. It's going to be Fraggy, though. He's going to get nano boosted. He's able to get one, swinging his hammer, just causing tons of chaos. It's going to be Zappos, though, cleaning up the kills with Himsy. Zappos uses the Soldier ultimate there, picks up a few kills. Things looking very good for NIP, getting close to 50% the overall score here. Now, what looks like it could be our last point here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a couple more fights here. I mean, Unwanted can lose this fight. They've got 2 of the ultimates, right? But there's a Graviton. They better not use any ultimates right now. Nimitz used his nano boost again. Smarky's also gone for the ultimate, but he wasn't caught in the Graviton now. So he is free to do a heck of a lot of damage here, but this is a tanky squad of NIP. Soldier 76 is going to have great difficulty, not doing damage, but actually taking responsibility for a kill and getting that final blow that they need to get that 65.
And I feel like even if Unwanted takes the point here, they're still in a pretty bad spot. I mean, they'll have this sound barrier going into this next fight. It's going to be a Mill, actually, I believe, uses the D.Va ultimate there. So he's very low on his, or could be actually out of his mech. Don't actually know, but you will see the sound barrier probably have to be, yeah, he's got no mech. I was like, there's no way he could be that low. You have NIP, they will have the Earth Shatter. You'll have Himsy with the whole hog. So
Emil should have dropped off the edge.
Yeah.
He needs his mech for this fight, so I don't know how he's going to do it without, man.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty difficult to even hold on here. And you see the sound barrier coming in from Unwanted. 1 return from NIP, but now NIP is able to get out, and you see it's actually going to be Mill drops there at the beginning. He's not in that mech. Gets picked up by Zappos right away.
Yeah, you have no mobility as D.Va, and it's attack visor used by Zappos, and you have no mech. You're just going to get absolutely wrecked, and you can't even protect the rest of your team from the attack visor because you didn't drop off the edge and get yourself remech. So that's something that I wanted need to be thinking about. That D.Va is so important. Don't have a D.Va sitting around without a suit. If you're going to regroup, drop off the edge, respawn in your mech, and go again.
And he has his ultimate with the mech. So right. he would have dropped off the map, been back for the fight, had obviously the defense matrix, and had the ultimate ability as well. And now they're going to use that D.Va ultimate. You're going to see the Graviton, though, coming in from Mafu. It's just going to be everybody getting cleaned up for Unwanted. And that will be, well, overtime here for a quick second, but it's not going to last long. It's going to be NIP taking the series over Unwanted 2-0.
Yeah, pretty dominant performance to start things off here for NIP. A little bit shaky in the beginning. Obviously, their attack on Eichenwald left a little bit to be desired, but that also does lend credence and credit towards Unwanted. It was a decent opening for them, but NIP don't like playing control maps. However, fundamentally, the mechanics and the team play is there, and if you, as Unwanted, don't have that same level, you don't even need to go towards thinking about strategy and high-level play and picks and countering.
Right.
You need to start at the very beginning.
Yeah, you just need to start with your teamwork and coordination. I think in that series, you really saw NIP stand really out over Unwanted in terms of just overall, coordination.
Yeah.
When to use ultimate abilities and whatnot, they just plan this out so much better.
No doubt about it. Well, we're going to throw back to the desk here and get these guys to put this first game of the day under the microscope.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, that was unfortunately rather one-sided. We did hope to see something a little bit different than that, but still, let's analyze it. Let's talk about the game we just saw. Starting with the first map, actually on the last point, when NIP was attacking, it did seem like they got a little bit too confident at the very end, going in as 5, not as 6. What were your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts on that is that last point, Eichenwald can be very much a trap for teams where it's very much like the last points of your assault maps where you need to come in with full 6 to deal with the defensive respawns. NIP, they would always go in and they would lose about 2 people early on. And then, of course, the skill of NIP is very good. They're able to stay in there and fight for a long time. But without that full 6, they just lose people. They stagger over and over again. And they sort of entered into this death spiral where they were down a player repeatedly and they couldn't actually finish things out.
I think like the most simple way to describe that is just overconfidence.
Yep.
Like I mean, there was a replay of the first half initially with what happened, and then the fact that they took the first point with no trouble. They were like, all right, well, we're not really too worried. And maybe, off the get-go, they were actually caught off guard because we did see Unwanted hold them on that first point for a little bit of time. But as it progressed on, it's just kind of like they got a little bit careless. I don't really want to chalk that up to any weaknesses within the team. Maybe a weakness within taking the team necessarily seriously and trying to focus the whole way through. But I don't think that's the true form of NIP, I guess.
No, not at all. And it's also something that a lot of teams tend to struggle with, too, on last point Eichenwald, or just last point for assault maps in general.
Yeah.
So it's something that goes across the entire scene, but NIP definitely got a little bit careless there towards the end.
Well, we actually have a replay for you guys, so you would be so kind as to walk us through that very first one we're going to see. I'm not quite sure which one it's going to be, so it's going to be a surprise for all of us.
I'm not actually really sure which one it is either, but
there
it
we
looks
go.
like it's
Here
an
it is.
So it looks like it's going to be, them on the high ground Unwanted, looking for the attack. And the problem that we had with in general with Unwanted is they didn't really have any wombo combos. It seems like every time we saw an attack coming, it was always out of NIP. They were the ones to force engagements and not allow Unwanted to get comfortable. And even with having, was it self-destruct up and having a lot of ultimates they could have used in combination.
I mean, at that
NIP
moment, they probably wanted to nano boost, but they didn't even get that one off. He
Yeah.
dropped down, pulled out the heel, and then he was gone, literally.
There was multiple times I saw like an Earth Shatter come in right when a soldier popped Tac Visor, and it's just like, all right, well, what did you do there, right? You're on the ground.
Ultimates got blocked, like literally.
Yeah.
And the other thing with that, too, is that you take a look at how that was going down. You also had them running in the Mafu Graviton surges over and over again. And even some of the very top teams in the game still struggle to deal with that. But you still had a case where your more experienced teams know when that's coming. They time out the ultimates. I don't think Unwanted was really as experienced to avoid that as often. So Mafu was just sitting there getting 3, 4-man Gravitons pretty much any time he wanted.
And so we saw a lot of changes within Unwanted, like in compositions. And we talked about that a little bit off air and how it kind of shows the team's not comfortable. We did see triple support out of Unwanted on the attack for Eichenwald in the beginning. They ran Zen, they ran Anna, and they ran Lucio. And we kind of talked about, well, so running a Zen, in theory, isn't bad, right? Zen is really good. Discord Orb just demolishes tanks. The healing, you can do the Transcendence as well if you work with your Reinhardt to block a grenade. But the big point is, you're running a Zen, you're not running a tank instead of him. You're not running another DPS instead of him. You're running Zen. He's very squishy, he's very easy to be taken down. But the fact of it is that you can't run Zen instead of Anna. You can't run Zen instead of Lucio on the first point Eichenwald. You need the speed to get through the doorway, that choke point. You need that nano boost and the healing that Anna can do. And then later on, we saw them try to switch things up with like a Tracer thrown in instead of playing Zen playing Tracer, a D.Va being thrown in. It was kind of like last second, like, let's just try something because it's not working, which you have to respect. The teams need to know when to do that kind of thing. And then even as like the whole series progressed on, they kept changing around a lot of different heroes. Like Lijiang Tower, they ran a D.Va, Zarya, Reinhardt combo. And D.Va and Zarya, like, are complete polar opposites in terms of how well they work together. They have no synergy because you block a fire strike coming in, which is like Zarya's most consistent way of energy, she can't get it.
Yeah.
And if those little mistakes like that completely screw your Zarya
I mean,
over.
on Lijiang, they also threw in the Genji, and guys, both of you guys were not too happy with that, because how can he deal with all those tanks?
Genji really can't deal with it all that well. In fact, I'll use an example when you take a look at games that, say, FaZe plays, where Shadowburn, the best Genji in the game, going against NIP, oftentimes he has to go and swap to the Reaper because he needs the extra DPS versus the tank. So one of NIP's strengths is that they can take away teams that have good Genji players, where maybe that's a big strength of theirs, but you don't want to run him against that tank-heavy lineup. And for some teams that are really reliant on running projectile DPS, which, who knows, maybe Unwanted was, it can actually put them in a really bad matchup.
I just wonder mostly, was it like a, well, we're down one map, right? We're down quite a few points already. Let's just throw a Genji in there. Let's just try to make it work, right? Maybe that Nicola's really good on Genji, and he felt like he could carry his team. The problem is, like, you jump into the back line as Genji, right? Like, say, let's just assume you get past the front line of NIP, which is already scary enough. Then you have an Ana and a Lucio pairing together, who a Genji can't take on 1v2. So it's like, without
I mean, he got
help of
stepped
your
right
own.
away. He had his ult ready, he did kill that soldier, and then he was, like, put to sleep.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, okay, well, now it's going to run out. However, we're going to have another replay, then you can continue talking. So let's take a look at what else we're going to show you.
So replay here, this is, you take a look, this is Unwanted, all coming in, all grouped together, and you see Mafu has a Graviton. Now I wonder if this is the play where he came in with a big Graviton stuff. Mafu's charging right in, gets in the middle, and there's the Graviton. And that's just, again, what I was talking about earlier, where Mafu is getting massive value out of his Gravitons all series long, and it can be avoided if you just time ultimates and know that, hey, Zarya probably has a Graviton
And
here.
what's important about it is the fact that, like, he's so good on Zarya, even against a D.Va, he gets him off consistently.
Yeah.
Like, it's really easy to block a Graviton surge. You can generally see it when it's coming, right? But he looks at the ground the whole time to make sure that it hits the ground before it gets eaten up by a Zarya, or by D.Va, sorry.
Well, as you can clearly see, we're joined now by Zappies from NIP. First of all, of course, congratulations to the first win. First game of the day, you guys seemed in a good shape. Are you comfortable with everything at the moment?
Yeah, thank you. We got used to the stage. The first game is behind us, and I don't know, we're really looking forward for our next opponent, and we'll see how it goes.
What were your general thoughts on your first opponent? I mean, Unwanted was for us a big unknown. We didn't know what to expect. Have you played against those guys before? Did you know what you're going into?
No, well, no idea. I never heard about those guys, but they obviously came from the Bring Your Computer tournament and qualified from that. So, I don't know, we just focus on our game, our play style, and it doesn't matter who comes, like who's against us, we just do our thing, and that's how it goes.
That's the spirit. Now, on Eichenwalde, very first round where you guys were attacking, looked like you got very, very confident at that, and actually your opponents managed to stall for 4 minutes. Was that overconfidence, or was that just like a, I don't know?
Yeah, you could say we played a bit loose in the end. It's really important when to know to quit trying and regroup and then re-establish the team fight. So we just kind of bleed in and it spawns, just jumped in, and then someone died, and then well, that's how it goes. But that's one thing we need to improve. We can't do that in the games forward, so we'll just keep it tight and keep it simple and do our style, and we will win.
Wonderful.
I was actually really curious about like the preparation coming into this, because you were at BlizzCon, the Overwatch World Cup. You were playing there representing Finland, and you came back. Obviously, you probably wanted some time off to adjust to like the time zones again. Like, what did you guys do in terms of like preparing specifically for this?
Well, 3 of our guys who played in BlizzCon, we came back to Finland and we had a few days off. Then we started practicing again with NIP. Then we actually came Sweden 4 days ago, and we started the boot camp. So we had 3 really intense days of boot camping before we came to DreamHack. And then we just like scouted around what every team does, if it was possible. Like some of these teams that are here, we have no idea of what they are going to do. But then we just polished our game style, and that's what we're going for.
And speaking of game style, of course, we've talked a lot about it, but this patch effectively was Christmas for you guys, where it's really playing into your playstyle, where I think even if it wasn't the meta, you guys would still be running your tank-heavy set because it's what you've been refining even before it was popular. But coming in now, we had talked with you a little bit yesterday, and you mentioned Reaper, not quite as great right now. One of the big go-tos that people went when going against you. Do you guys feel that you're in a better position in this patch than you have been in perhaps any patch before?
Well, this patch kind of suits our playstyle in a way, but there are like more counters since the last patch. Like last patch only had like May Reaper, and that was the only thing. But now people run like divas and hit scan heroes, and it's what it's like what you're training and what you've trained for, and you can counter our playstyle if you play well. But
Now,
like we play really tight, and that's how it goes.
when we talked to you guys yesterday, you guys did say that you personally feel that D.Va is like overrated. That's why you're still feeling very comfortable playing as Zarya instead of a D.Va. Can you maybe explain to the viewers why you think it's overrated?
Well, I think D.Va is really good against like DPS heroes. Hitscan heroes, like she basically counters them. Like if a team is really heavily relies on hitscan heroes, then D.Va is a really good counter to those kind of teams. And we don't run that many hitscan heroes, and we rely on like our strong tank play and our strong team play. And we're like, it doesn't matter if D.Va blocks one of our guys. And that's how we feel like that D.Va isn't, she's really good on this match, but she isn't a counter to our team.
All right. Well, you guys won the first one. We're going to see you again in the winners match. Once more, congratulations. And thanks for joining us here on the desk as well, Zappis. We're going to take a look at the updated groups now to see where we are currently standing here in the Overwatch Championship. Group A already had their first game behind themselves. Ninjas in Pyjamas won against Unwanted in a very one-sided fashion. The next one we're going to see is going to be Penta going up against Complexity. And the winner of that game will be facing off against the Ninjas in Pyjamas. We're going to go into a very quick break now, and then afterwards we're going to be back with more action, so stay tuned, and we're going to be right back.
This is never going to stand. It just keeps happening. Like I don't know, I have a very